So there's compromise on two levels. There's the compromise of working with a guitarist that has his own background, his own style, his own, the way that he does things, and really even pointing him in a certain direction, he's still going to produce music that's very much coming from where he's coming from. So you have that compromise, but you also have the compromise of knowing that you're on a label that wants a certain thing. Now, what I do is I try to push that envelope as hard as I can.
Sure.
And so I think what's interesting about the new Starbreaker is that it's got elements of what people know and love about, or what I should say, I don't know if they love it, but what they know and expect from me, from my whole history. But it also has a lot of new elements that I worked into it. Tried to keep things a little bit contemporary, but without being too trendy. I didn't want it to come off like a trendy thing, like we were following something. I just wanted to use some of the new technologies, and we did that. We used some loops, and there's a little bit of a goth influence on this one. Some tuned down guitars, and just a different attitude. It's kind of a very, I guess, a dark album. Some people have described it as like a dark AOR. I think somebody said recently in a review, which I think describes it pretty well. It's got a lot of dark elements to it.
Sure.
Kind of sad, kind of dark, But a lot of that is because of the music. A lot of minor key stuff, a lot of tuned down guitars. But yeah, so the difference, I guess, is with TNT, Ronnie and I had such a relationship with writing that, we would just get together and hang out basically with a guitar sitting there. Mm-hmm. And after an hour or two or whatever, things would just start to come very naturally. And we knew instinctively what our albums had to sound like, So in each of these situations, I guess what I'm trying to say, there's a compromise, and you try to put as much of yourself and as much of what you would like to do into each project as possible, while considering, for example, what the label wants and considering what you think the fan wants. And unfortunately, and fortunately, at my level, that's kind of what you have to do. But I think bands on bigger levels do it as well. I mean, you look at AC/DC, for example, and they certainly know what their fans want. They want those same three chords played in 50,000 different ways,
Sure.
And it works.
Well, I saw that you had done a interview for melodicrock.com, which obviously is a big supporter of yours, and I guess the question had come up if you had listened to or heard any of the TNT material with Tony Mills, and I guess your answer was that you weren't interested in hearing it, or you hadn't heard it. It was like meeting the new girlfriend of the ex-boyfriend or something to that effect.
No, I think I described it as walking in, even though you're over your ex and you've moved on, you still don't really want to watch her having sex with the new guy.
Right.
And that's kind of I just I don't want to have to sit and compare and sit and think either good or bad. I don't want to sit and go, oh God, that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I wish Ronnie would have had that riff when I was in the band, or God, he's singing really great on this. This sounds better than ever. And at the same time, I don't want to say, oh God, they've ruined all I've worked for with that band. They've tarnished the name and the reputation and all that. So I just, either way, if I go there, it takes time away from what I want to do now. It takes energy and all of that away from just moving forward. I decided to leave to move forward, so I don't want to get stuck in it,
Right.
Worrying about what they're doing. It's not my business anymore.
Well, I can tell you as a TNT fan, you're not missing anything.
Okay. Well, I've heard that from a lot of people, but, With all due respect to Ronnie, he's a very original and innovative musician, and when you're like that, sometimes you hit and sometimes you don't, but I got to respect him for going for it, and
Sure.
I think I have a lot of respect for musicians that do that, because every now and again you'll hit on a piece of magic, and hopefully he'll hit on more magic than not as the future, moves forward. But I think, they did very well in Norway. From what I hear, the album did well. It was very well received by the critics there. So I think they're kind of going, if I've heard correctly, they're kind of going for being a mainstream band in that country, and kind of not really worried about continuing on with the fans from around the world.
Right.
And that's got two edges to it, because on one side you're going to lose your worldwide fan base, which was obviously a lot bigger than their fan base in Norway, but they live in Norway, except for the singer, and so I guess it's more lucrative for them to have high charting albums there where they can be on television and play big shows and so forth.
Sure, why not? Well, good. Well, now you got, now you're back with your second Starbreaker release, and I know you just went through the whole gamut of and kind of described it for us. Who's in the band with you here? Who makes up Starbreaker?
We got Magnus Carlsen on guitar, who people might know from the Londa Allen or Alan Londa records, and also from Last Tribe, and he just joined a pretty big metal band in Europe called Primal Fear.
Oh yeah, we love Primal Fear.
Yep, and he just finished Bob Catley's solo album, his new solo album from Magnum, and so he's great. He's becoming a very well-known and respected guy over in Europe, and of course Swedish. Something about the water in Scandinavia, I guess. And I have Johnny Macaluso on drums, who's an old buddy. He played with me in TNT on the Realized Fantasies album in '92. And we have Johnny Lightfoot on bass, who's the new addition to the project. And he's just fantastic. I can't say enough good things about him. He's fantastic. And he added such a beautiful, warm tone to the production, and his playing was just perfect, and the right things at the right time. So
no relation to Gordon Lightfoot.
No, I don't think so.